Right. It's office hours, and we're not going to go over the line. We might go over the cliff, but not over the line. Let's bring on a neighbor of Dr. Sean Dill down in Boca Raton or Boca Raton, depending how Jewish you are. And I mean that in a serious sense. But more importantly, Cliff Nonnenmacher, welcome to Office Hours, episode 380 or so.
Great to be here. Thank you, guys.
Franocity. And Franocity is helping corporate executives and high earners identify the right franchise, which is why I thought it was Franocity, franchise opportunities and acquiring those at 100% free to the investor. That's quite an offer. So many people overlook franchising. I know Sean's involved. I've been involved for years. Not sure if Dave Williams as well, but how can you do this for 100% free to the investors?
So our services are free to the investor buyer. We're compensated much like a realtor or a headhunter. So we're paid by the seller, the franchisor, at their expense. So there's no scenario where the buyer is paying for our services.
Beautiful. And how long have you been doing this?
25 years. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life since I was a kid.
As a kid, what was your first sale?
I was 8, and I used to rake golf balls out of a country club that I lived across the street from, and I would sell them out of egg cartons at the entrances of country clubs. And at 8 in 1980, I was doing $100 a weekend. Do that math. That was just like a cute thing to do. Like, we were making money.
Yeah, no, Sean does that still on the weekends with Christian Gall. They make $1,000. They're at Talus, so they make $1,000 a weekend. It's not something to laugh at. Tax free, by the way. I'm sure he's not showing that on his tax returns. But we'll go through the 7-step process to figure it out. Mr. Dill, you've been an entrepreneur since the day you were born, selling your baby blanket to other babies. But anyway, what do you got for our friend?
Renting. It was purely as a rental. Because that provided more longer term.
No pun intended. Don't jump off the cliff. Don't jump off the cliff,
No.
Sean. I'll push you. Don't worry, I'll push you. Go ahead.
And speaking of cliffs, Cliff is here to educate us on franchising, and I have experience on both sides of that as the franchisor in two concepts and franchisee as well. And listen, that world, I feel like it's like feast or famine. Either people are going to tell you it was the best thing I've ever done, or it's the worst thing I've ever done. And there's not a lot in between. Give us some tips, for anybody who's considering reaching out to you and wondering, is franchising for me? Obviously, your company is going to be really instrumental in helping to find the right fit. But beyond just having the right fit, it takes a certain context of a person, because you're an entrepreneur, but you're going into a franchise and there's, benefits, but also limitations inside of those benefits. How can we assess ourselves to know if this is something that's worth exploring?
It's a great question. I subscribe to Jack Welch's logic on this, okay? Jack Welch said, number one question ever asked of Jack Welch, how do you hire people? And his response in the book Winning was the 4E, 1P principle. Does the prospective franchisee have energy? Right? Great. Check that box. Does the prospective franchisee, can they energize others? Just because you're high energized doesn't mean you can lead a team and energize your people to execute the business. Number 3, can they execute? Right? Can they actually execute a proven system, that business model that was presented to you by the franchisor? The 4th E is edge, which we lack today. Everyone's afraid of offending everyone. Look at this show. Everyone is literally afraid today of offending other people. We've literally silenced the intelligent to not offend stupid. That's the culture we live in. You have to have edge. Edge, thank you for that. Right. You have to have edge. And the final is the P. The P is passion. You got to believe in something. You have to believe it. You can't play it safe anymore. You just had a social media guy in there. You have to believe in something. You have to execute. You have to have energy. So for people who don't resemble 4E, 1P, they're like, look, I don't have any of that. Then you're probably not a good fit. But execution is everything in franchising. And you're absolutely right. I talk more people out of doing this than we talk into it. You're just not a fit. This isn't going to go anywhere. No franchisor is going to fall in love with you, right? We send them to Discovery Day. They give us a call and say low energy, not following the system, ask really low level questions. So I think execution, being coachable, there's a lot of subsets to that question and answer. But I think that 41P principle is a great way to begin. and start to engage with us.
Cliff, I got a question for you. I talk to entrepreneurs all the time, and one of the common things out there is diversification. And I find in these conversations, it's like year after year, month after month, I'm talking to them, and they never seem to know where to start. So I guess what advice do you have to the existing entrepreneur that maybe wants to add some diversification to their portfolio through a franchise, but they want something that's going to be, relatively lower risk, lower management? That's one of the common themes that are out there. First off, does that exist? And then second off, if it does, what would be those top 3 franchise recommendations be that you would give to that entrepreneur?
So someone who's already self-employed that's not a franchise and they want to either bolt something onto their business, maybe it's correlated. Sometimes people want a correlated asset. Sometimes they want something uncorrelated. Whatever the investment objectives are of that entrepreneur will help them identify opportunities that fit it. If someone's running a roofing franchise, right? But they already have a database of thousands to bolt on to that roofing business or a handyman business. Maybe it's pest control. Maybe they don't want to enter the interior of the home. They love working on the exterior of the home, and they're very disciplined in the investments that they make. As for what is asymmetrical, which is one of my specialties, is finding asymmetrical opportunities. Low investment, high margin, very few employees, highly scalable, limited to no inventory, cash paid on demand of service being performed, right? Recession resilient, no shiny new pennies, businesses that have weathered the housing crisis, weathered COVID, came out the other side clean, nothing new, right? We helped them with that. And what we've learned, and I think a lot of people listening don't understand what's about to happen in the next 5 years, right? With Tesla, with humanoids, with Optimus, with AI, with everything. We're focusing on 5 categories. One is what we refer to as the feminization of men, meaning we've weakened them, right? So there are businesses that help them, whether it's ED. You guys made comments about this before I got there. Whether it's ED, whether it's low T, right? There's testosterone, or whether it's the inability to use tools, right? So we have businesses in that category. Next would be the pursuit of youth. This country is aging rapidly. We will soon be a super aged nation like Japan and Italy. So anything in the silver tsunami category, you're going to win. Third would be the humanization of pets and animals. $150 billion market last year. We're not repopulating, but we're buying more pets, right? Next would be the pursuit of youth, which is that anti-aging biohacking. Look at what's going on with Huberman. Exactly. Look what's going on in that category. Peptides, red light therapy, cold plunging, sensory deprivation. And then you have the youth enrichment. Public schools have failed our children miserably, and everyone's looking to help these kids. So the pursuit of youth, those 5 categories have the furthest distance from AI disruption. And there are businesses where you, the entrepreneur, could be the disruptor versus the disrupted.
So brilliant, man. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's up there with the 7-step tax process. And those 5 things, when you get a real entrepreneur, they can pragmatically and simply articulate step by step what we should be looking at. And you're singing my language. I know you're singing Sean's language, and we don't know what David thinks, but I don't think what people think is none of my business. Anyway, we support David Williams in whatever he thinks as well, but I'm sure he'll tell us in his takeaway of the day. Cliff, promise me one thing, regardless of me pronouncing your company's name correctly or not. I gave it a nuance of franchising with Franocity, but it's Franocity because it must be from France or something. But I think it's Brad branding and marketing, just personally. I'm not afraid of offending you. But more importantly, my testosterone is high. I'm feeling good. And I'm going to take advantage of those 5 different areas of utilization of AI to disrupt the future. And so many of us that understand it can see huge opportunity through 2030 at least by following people and utilizing people. He'll do it on a performance basis only. If you're interested in learning more and acquiring a franchise, go to the best over 25 years of experience and acquire it for free. Go ahead and use our friend Cliff. Cliff, thank you so much. Go to franocity.com or franocity.com, whatever suits you, tomato or tomato, Sean Dill or David Meltzer, it doesn't matter. Cliff, thanks for joining us. We'll have you back.
Thank you very much, Dom, and I appreciate it.
I was like
aside.
this,
I was
bro.
like,
I was like this.
wow,
I was
wow,
feeding you the one
wow.
finger props. Usually I give
Heck
you a
yeah.
different finger.
I
Usually I
know.
give you a different finger.
I
This
was
finger was
shocked.
working in your favor. All right, Dave Williams, you are the first to the party. What's your
All
takeaway
right.
of the day? Takeaway of the
Yes,
day.
I'd say my takeaway of the day is the word you just used, Mr. Meltzer, and that was disrupt. Because what I heard on there was 3 disruptors that are doing things differently in their industry. And the one commonality between all of them is they're all crushing it. So any of the business owners that are thinking, hey, how do I get my business to the next level? Or I'm trying to maybe take something new and break it into the marketplace. Stop doing what everybody else is doing and think, how can I create a better mousetrap? How can I innovate? I mean, you just listened to a guy earlier that literally took a barbecue business and turned it into a media business. And I think that's how far outside the box you can think. And I think when you open up your mind to that kind of, you start looking at things through that kind of lens and you have that sort of innovation that you bring to the table. Well, that's how you eliminate your competition. Because when I look at these guys, there's not many other people that are probably doing what they're doing out there. So what does that do to the competitive landscape? They're kind of operating up here while all their other competitors are up here, which is why they're winning.
Mr. Dill, Dr. Dill.
My takeaway was the 4 E's and 1 P, which was cool. I appreciated that. But what I realized is, as Cliff was going through that, is that all of our guests exhibit that, right? They have energy, they have the capacity to energize others. Obviously, they have edge. And maybe most importantly, they have passion, which that, in Sean Walcliffe's segment, stepping out. Listen, being on this show in and of itself is a business owner stepping out. Anybody that wants to come on the show, try and pick a day that I'm not a guest if you want to take it seriously. But otherwise, reach out to David's team because you have a message to share. If you have those four E's and a P, if you have 4 E's and a P, reach out to the Meltzer team. Let's see you on office hours. Let's share that message with the world, because that's what I appreciated today, is that those 3 guests did that. And also Bad Bunny, he has the 4 E's and a P, and he killed it at the Super Bowl.
He certainly did, and created controversy as well by thinking outside the box, which I always like, elevating discussion of how we can appreciate our differences, whether you speak English or not. Most importantly, you forgot 1 E when you were listing them off, I'm sure inadvertently. I know you like to point out when I mispronounce things, but you forgot the most important E. The most important E, which is my takeaway, which is each of these guests of ours today, they're execute. They execute was the E that you forgot to mention, and they use step-by-step simple processes. If you don't understand something, then you can't teach it simply. If you can't tell me the 5 steps to this, or the 4 E's and 1 P, if you can't tell me the 3 daily practices or whatever it is, then you haven't learned it enough yourself in order to help energize others or teach others or empower others, which is the mission of all 3 of us, aligned with making a lot of money, helping a lot of people, and having a lot of fun, which is what this show is about. We help people make a lot of money, help a lot of people for the sake of helping a lot of people, but also, if it's not fun, we're not going to do it. And I love the fact that Cliff especially was just so straightforward about, stop worrying about offending people, take a fucking joke and move forward with what we're doing. I think too many people overreact. There's some great advice on here, and you don't have to be so serious giving tax advice or execution franchise advice or media advice. You can just listen
Sometimes
and
you just
learn.
need to drop a dick joke.
You got to drop a hard dick joke once in a while. Or like he was saying, there's a big EDD epidemic. You can also play pool with the rope if you'd like. And while you're doing that, go ahead and watch Office Hours. More importantly, I appreciate my 2 guest hosts, whether they come back or not, whether they have a need to be offended. Sean Dill's a masochist, so he's always here. Dave Williams is a semi-masochist when he has time to get beat up. He likes to
Here
come on
anytime.
Office Hours. These guys are brilliant. They express God's wishes and prayers on all of us. Thank you guys for taking the time to join me.